property, how many residents you have in the city limits times a certain amount, so they're just kind of taking that down. So, the rest of it, you can just kind of look at, and part of it, she's right on the license and permits. Some of that was things that he felt like, you know, so I tried to work with him on those things for revenue coming in. And they've done a great job this year reviewing tickets. So anyway.
I'm really interested in the areas that, oh, sorry, can I?
Yep, this is okay.
I didn't, okay.
She's on the water one.
What?
I said, you're looking at water.
Okay. I was really interested in the areas that have increased a lot. For example, where it says, and there's not a description really, second page of the water department, other contracted services, and you went from 27,000 to 100,000.
That's had calling in people to do a lot of work that we've had to do this year to make, that's on your expense side. So we've had to do a lot of new things, and you're fixing to do, I think that's when it's going to be for kind of feel like there's some pipes coming up through there, and they're having to go out there and fix all that out on that area.
So this is making up for this year's,
We just make it out for several years of not having some things done, actually.
There's a 10-inch water main at Carroll Lake that's visible. And, as well as some fencing that needs to be corrected around some of our wellheads.
where it says plant and repair maintenance, you went from 2,000 to 16,000, the last page.
Well, we're having to do a lot of stuff out at the wastewater in that building, having to do a lot of putting a new roof on and I don't know what all, I can't remember now, but we're having to do a lot of repairs in that building.
Any other questions on water?
Not from me.
We can go general government, back on the third page, fourth page. Any questions on general government?
No, there's not much change.
Yeah. Police department. Will mention that in this budget, under salaries, there have been allocations for a admin grant position, to move one of our officers to an admin role to focus on grants. We've received quite a few, but Chief White and I see the need to allocate someone just to focus on grants. And, with that, we will be able to put in a percent in the grants to help offset the, cost of the salary. As well as in that is another drug or narcotics officer. And, this would be offset, would be through the drug fund. So what is seized, would be able to pay for that salary as well.
So you think that there will be enough grants down the pipeline that they'll be able to sustain a salary? Is that what-
I believe so. I mean,
Yes, ma'am. They, all these vehicles and everything that we've got this past year is through grants, and we have to maintain them. VCIF, the SRO stuff is quarterly reported. We've received, 2 grants from the state of Tennessee that are good for the next 5 years. It's up to $40,000 a year for recruiting, training and retention. So we have to do quarterly reports on all of those as well. He's just filed for our vest grant. The vest grant pays for 50% of our vest. They expire every 5 years, and we have to replace those, and they're very expensive, roughly around $1,000. So this takes half of that off. There are some other grants that we've looked
So this grants, is it something that you bid on and maybe you get or you don't get, or is it
Yeah.
a secure?
So the invest grant is pretty much secure every year once you put in. We have not had the resources to actually keep up with it over the years, and we've lost it for the last several years. If these grants are not kept up with, then we lose them, just like the SRO grant. Even though the state does that with that $75,000 per person per year, we have to keep up with all the billing for the SROs individually. We have to submit quarterly reports, and we have to account for every bit of that money, which takes a lot of time away. So that person very needed. That's $225,000 that's coming in just from that.
My only concern will be to prepare, I mean, if it's a secure loan, I mean, a grant, secure grant, then it's different than having to bid on work, where you have risk, you know, associated with having a person
Yes,
solely
ma'am.
dedicated to it.
And this individual just won't be wholeheartedly for grants to the police department.
Okay.
It'll help Miss Jennifer with grants for the city side.
Okay.
This week, I can tell you, this guy, he has had an injury, so he's come in, and so far since Monday, he has listed 21 vehicles for auction. We're just cleaning up this lot. He'll be doing stuff like that, policies and procedures that we need to update and get behind and get in a secure place. We have 3 or 4 different books that are not all the same, that we have to and maintain that. And this position will help with the grants, that kind of stuff, and things that we have a need for. So it'll be way more beneficial to the department.
So it will help the city, but it will be allocated, like the city as a whole, but it will be allocated to the police department?
Primarily.
Okay. And we won't share from an administrative standpoint,
Salary wise,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's gonna be between the work of the city too, not just the police department.
Yeah. it's gonna be
I'll be the first to admit, Miss Jennifer has a lot on her plate, and there's the grant
Yeah.
stuff. And this person, if we can put them there, it'll benefit the city as a whole, not only the police department, but everybody as a whole. And that's what we have to work towards.
Any other questions on police? All right, fire. Few comments that you'll see is under cell and mobile phone. Chief Tucker is requesting to purchase an iPad with monthly service. This would allow him to go out and test fire hydrants, make the necessary comments, and store that via the iPad, as well as when they are out on fire, you can pull up any hydrant flow or anything like that. Yeah, capital outlay, he's requesting to purchase with the 15,000 battery operated hydraulic, jaws of life. And so we already have, some that are hydraulic, but in case we were not to be able to get the truck close enough, we could use these battery powered, tools.
Looks like he's managed to decrease his budget. That's hard to do nowadays.
Must be had
It's kinda hard to do. Wow.
And he's asked to purchase $5,000 worth of AED and medical supplies for our EMR program. And that's a big increase of calls. This would allow folks that we have 9 that's gonna be graduating through the EMR class. So now we'll have, I think, 12 or 13 that can respond to the emergency calls. One of those being a police officer, and just having an AED handy for that. And you'll see he asked for $1,500 to purchase medical grade oxygen. We have worked with a lease agreement with Houston Gas out there by the old D&D building for, I think it's $40 a month for each emergency responder to have a small tank of oxygen with them at all times, so that if they needed to administer it, they could have that. And then if they do empty it out, then we take it to Halston and they will refill it for us.
I'm very about the difference in the salary budget projection? For fire?
Cause the year before, I had put in all of his, part-times in the big salary.
Okay.
So does he have part-time?
Yeah, but he's got a whole bunch, but there's only a few that are working just a few hours. And I had calculated from the thing I get from payroll that has everybody staying on it, and it was calculated at a different rate. So it
Also,
shouldn't have been like that.
we should have mentioned as we started looking, in the salary line item, the projected or budgeted request is, for each individual employee to have $1 raise. We looked at it different ways to look at a 4% raise, but those that are making $11 an hour will only get 49 cents, whereas someone that's making 15 to 20 is gonna get $1 or $1.50. And so we felt to try to raise the minimum, it was best to do $1 across the board. So that's what the salary line is figured out for every department.
For every department?
Yes, sorry, I just should have mentioned it earlier. Any other questions on fire? Street and highway department?
I think you saved on the salary. Less employees.
Less employees.
Because we don't have enough and we can't hire any, or because we don't need that many?
Because we can't recruit them.
Okay.
At it, starting at $10 an hour minimum, we just can't.
I understand that.
Which page are you on?
Streets,
Um,
streets, it's right.
Oh,
Did you get that up a little?
I don't always think about the benefits.
I understand
So
that.
there, we're young,
Yeah.
money with the money. But it's actually a sad situation when we can't get people to work for $10 an hour.
That's not only here in McKenzie, that's just nationwide.
Yeah, I
Well, it's
know.
hard because when you go to the grocery, you can't buy a gallon of milk for $4 anymore, or $3, or $2, it used to be $2, so $10, you have to work so much to just get 1 gallon of milk. I mean, that's why it's so hard to find somebody at $10. I mean, I can't imagine making it on $10 anymore, at all. I can't.
Any other questions or comments on street and highway? He didn't have a lot. There was some money last year in there for a generator hookup, but we took that out. Cause it's sat there for 3 years and we haven't been able to get it done. And
What is
we-
this Salt Bay? What is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That, let's pull it out now. We just got, oh no, we've got sulfurs, ice storms.
Yeah, it-
We were thinking about building a whole building, but if you don't use it, it gets
Corrodes.
solid, and so.
And last winter, he saw that the bags worked well to be able just to dump in the back of his truck and start slinging it.
On the Wi-Fi components, was that, is that no longer, is it finished, the whole Wi-Fi thing with the streetlights and all that, is that done? Is that why it's not in the budget?
Yeah, because they're not, it should be done, so they haven't sent us any more information about anything else, so I just deleted it.
Is it up and running?
Yes, it is. So if you go down to Veterans Park or the splash pad, you can log in
Okay.
using public Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've tested it and I mean, you're getting decent speed. off of public Wi-Fi. Any other comments on the street? Alright, park and recreation. Under operating supplies, you'll see the increase to 15,000. That is for ball, field material, paint, and trash cans. And we're just seeing, I mean, like this past weekend, whenever we had the rain, they had the district tournaments, and we used 6 to 7 bags of mix to help dry the soil so they could play. And Mr. Billy said those are $18 to $20 a bag, just, you know, for one game in one field. So he's seeing an increase there. On splash pad expenses, he had requested a playground equipment to replace the wood train because it's starting to have splinters, but because of budgeting, we had to take that out for this year.
Does the splash pad generate revenue with the rentals and things?
When we have a party, yeah.
Yeah. Enough.
But we got a lot of chemicals.
Oh,
Yeah, but a birthday party is $250.
No, 120.
Oh, 120.
Yeah.
So I mean, that typically pays for the worker.
right.
So we're going to hold on the splash pad, is that what you're trying to say?
It's, well, with
It's like, kinda like a community service,
yeah,
there you go.
You'll also see under capital outlay, requested $40,000. That is for a tractor with a front bucket and a bush hog. And so if he were to need the bush hog, the big field next to the dog park, he has to ask the street department for their bush hog, if he doesn't mow it with his mowers. And then to like move dirt around, he's having to ask Billy or Johnny for their tractor.
Do we really need another? Is it a problem to borrow one from the streets?
I mean, if the park has it, then the street's not able to work on it, but Mr. Bobby.
Personally, I wish we could, the 40,000, I'm not contesting that, but I wish we could maybe borrow there some and put the 40,000 in some of the bathroom work.
Yeah, Mr. Billy and I, you had talked about that, and so, I mean, we're gonna look at that, see if we can find a used tractor. We have 2 currently at the park, they're very old, he's tried to replace hydraulic hoses on one, and then the other one just is scrap. And so we've talked to Tennessee Tractor about how much they would give us towards both of those, and so we just haven't got a quote yet back for that.
How did we manage to go down from 12,000 on the splash pad to 2,000?
well, cause we did a lot of work last year on it, we added a whole lot more concrete to it and, edging of thing, trying to keep the water from going all out in where the kids would quit splashing mud, getting mud all in it, so we had to do a lot of concrete work last year.
Fence too, would you?
Yeah, we added that fence cause everybody's,
And then, on the next page, you will see pickleball. This 12,000 is, to do a pickleball restroom, facility in between the new courts and hopefully the other new courts. We're waiting on Tosh to, be able to come and pour some concrete for us that they're planning to donate. And so we were looking at doing one of the converted storage containers like we're looking at doing at the T-ball field, but this one would be able to hook into water sewer, so we wouldn't have as much expense as we have at the T-ball, bathroom.
Yeah, that T-ball bathroom is bad. Not just that one, next to the barn.
Yes. Yeah, all of our bathrooms are, and
So bad.
for me, I don't wanna use the porta potty, especially in the heat of the summer. So you'll see also that we have from 22 to 30, under repairs to ball fields, lighting and equipment. That is, Mr. Billy's looking at pulling the fence in at the high school field, the foul post. I was talking to one of the ball players recently, and he was like, you know, our baseball field is one of the largest in this area. He said it helps us when we're in the outfield because nobody can do a home run on us, because we typically can get to the fence first. But looking to pull that in a little bit, we were planning to do that this year, but because of winter and weather, we went ahead and used this money for the softball field, and have had nothing but amazing compliments on Mr. Billy and his team on what they're doing at the parks.
What happened with the soccer fields?
There's past 3 years, there's been nothing in there. That's the line item, but there was, looks like he spent $125 on some supplies for the soccer fields in, year to date, so.
Maybe that's a conversation for another day, because I think that there was a grant or something.
In the National Guard, there was some talk about that.
Yeah.
And then they had commander change and some other things, and so it never got pushed through. Under park landscaping, he had requested $10,000 to do dock repair and pond feature. We pulled it down to $3,000, and just to focus on the dock repair. If you were to go up to the dock right now, it was material that was kind of second already, and so they've patched a few areas so nobody falls through and that they can still fish. And so the goal is to repair that, and so we're gonna look at trying to work with TWRA on how we can do a partnership and let them help us with that. Any questions about park and recreation? Under solid waste, we don't really have, they do not have much. Their revenue far outweighs their expenses. I'm sorry, I skipped a page for you guys. Under tourism and economic development, which should have been next on your page, I apologize. And we don't have much difference from last year to this year.
There's a big drop in hometown Christmas.
Cut some stuff.
Yeah, we had about 300,000 based upon revenue versus expenses that Miss Jennifer and I had to cut, and so some of those things. Sweet Tea Festival was dropped, from what we spent last year.
Doesn't look like it.
Well, from what we spent.
But y'all are not seeing what,
The actual.
our actual, what we're doing right now.
Oh,
What was
That
it?
was the budget, at that point, some
The
time.
projection.
Yeah.
Actual for, like, Sweet Tea was 26, but then we had, almost 10,000 in sponsorships
Right.
that help offset that 26. And unfortunately had to cancel because of rain.
what is event storage?
It's where we keep our, train, where we keep our sleigh and stuff like that.
We were hoping to build something of our own instead of having to rent it, but because of cuts, we chose to cut that.
So where is it?
It's under
Right
No,
above.
I mean, where's your storage?
the.
Do you have storage, or is it like all over? Oh, okay.
No,
Cause there's not a line item there.
Yeah, under Philip Morset.
Philip Morset.
Event
His
storage.
building, the back of
Okay,
his building.
gotcha,
That's
okay.
where we store our
I just
stuff.
looked at storage building down there and I didn't see anything. Okay.
Now, I wanted to build my own, but
Gotcha.
I didn't get it.
And then under public affairs, we chose to just combine all the, donations into one pool. And so that as people requested, they request out of that pool, and then once that money is gone, then we don't have any more. Any questions on tourism, economic development, and public affairs?
Yeah.
They don't have solid waste. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I have to,
Yeah,
let's skip it.
Yeah, we
but
got
it's
solid
usually
waste.
not because it's separate from city money.
Oh,
All
okay.
that is city money, it's
Okay.
their own.
On solid waste, you can see that their expenses are far from their revenues. And so, we're showing $87,000 revenues over expenses on that. It's pretty much stayed the same.
Talk to me about this interest rate going from 40,000 to 1,000.
Yeah.
That's
Interest earned on what?
That 40 was probably a mistake from last year with, but anyway, they've got money in the bank, I mean,
Oh, okay,
see, they
I
have
got
their
it.
own revenue, they're not in our.
I see,
revenue.
alright.
so the 40,000 from last year may not have been accurate. Maybe it was a miss.
It's probably because it hadn't brought that much in, that's why I
Yeah,
think it's
so if-
50,000,
FY 22-23, it was budgeted, audited was 1,000.
yeah.
Year to date for March, which is all the latest we have.
So this is a typo.
I think so.
Okay, so then the bottom line will be more so on the lines of 47,000 in excess, right? I mean, under.
For that year, I mean, this year we just got it budgeted for 1,000.
Yeah. But when you're
But
comparing
they
the
always
two,
have a lot of money.
when you're comparing the two, it may be misleading when you say, oh, they got 40,000, but they cut it to 1,000, but no, it's a typo.
Yeah.
Any questions on solid waste? What?
Looks like it's a stinky mess.
Oh, boy.
Any other comments or questions about the budget?
I'm trying to see the bottom line.
There's just a revenue expense line.
Yeah, where? No, I mean like all together, like the whole,
Well,
the whole city together.
well, debt service, all of them are separate, because they have their own revenues and expenses, so they're not in this.
Okay.
We also have, a little over 400,000 in a rainy day fund that's not accounted for in here, so,
How much you said?
it's a little over 400,000.
Okay.
We have some ARPA funds as well in there that we'll discuss at some point about we want to spend those in the remainder of this year. So currently that account has a little over $1 million in it. But 400 was set aside prior to the ARPA funds. Any comments?
No, I just really appreciate your patience with this because I feel like I really understand it now after all these years.
Mr. Bobby, you have anything? Carol? Tom? Mr. Bruno? Alright, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Alright, all those in favor say aye. Alright, adjourned at 5:33.
So on the drug service, where it says forfeited or seized money, projected to be $20,000, that means to go to
I was like,
another account.
I'm sorry.
On this one with the forfeited seized money,
Yes, so whenever they were to go to a drug bust and there's cash
I was like, wait.
we get a portion of that.
That's funny.
If
so
it,
should we be like concerned that there's that much out there because the drugs are getting worse, or because the police department's doing such a good job?
I would say the police are good.
That's great. We have an awesome drug guy.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank them, they're the ones doing it, we've got an awesome group of guys, so we're very fortunate to see these great people.
I have, you know how tuned I am, because I have a 16-year-old. I haven't heard really big issues as of, here lately.
So, the drug officers and our drug guys, K-9 unit, everybody is
I
doing a
don't
great job.
adjourn
This
the
other
budget
drug squad, this is what the drug fund is gonna do.
okay
nothing
to
but help
discuss this now, or
better
rather wait?
We can wait till we get in the meeting.
Community.
Sorry.
How seriously.
We've already
we're about it.
and we didn't advertise
It
it.
pays for itself.
Yeah.
The drug agent we have now, he brought in over a year worth of salary by himself this year. He wasn't even out a full year, and there's still stuff in. So this is really gonna be beneficial for the community. We're very excited to be able to grow and offer this.
I've seen a lot more people stop, especially, and I imagine it's because you're scanning for tags that don't belong.
So,
Oh, I know.
yeah, so I guess. Because I probably announced, so we will have, June 1st, we will now also have 2 K9s, second one free. So,
Somebody, you
kind
said
of,
that kind of one.
Steven Scott, who actually owns the restaurant down here, he turned in his resignation.
All she does is.
He's already part-time, so we do not have to advertise.
Man, you got fancy.
He owns his own
It's got to
restaurant.
sit there with
And so he will go on the.
a shirt and a blanket, and I'm sitting there with a tank top, and I'm.
So he will be on one rotation, the other one will be on the other, and have the city of McKenzie will have a drug dog 7 days a week. That way, the city.
Is that the puppy that was that?
You need to say that
We already have a vehicle, one of the ones that we bought, it's Washington DC like his, so we've got it down to the payments, we need to match. And it comes out of the fund, so now we find out budgeted item, the city has that, it's not.
So the drug dealer for something out.
And they're doing such a good job. And that's what it's used for, we can't use it to, buy other things.
Yeah, I'd be glad to take it.
So now that we're able to utilize it, and all support has really helped us.
No, it's 87, so I thought.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not a big amount,
That's Saturday.
but that's okay.
Well, I know, that's what, we're just trying to decide if it's 87,000 or 8,700 what we said.
800. Cause it was a lot, cause I don't know.
Probably.
Okay, it's 8,700 then, not 87,000.
I mean, look, see, I'm not sure how the revenue is gonna happen.
Because,
With
you
Phil
know, it's
Williams,
never much anywhere.
with Phil Williams, you know.
What happened to the rest of your
If
people
he
to
stays,
get
how long he's gonna stay.
They had the insurance in, they wanted to sit in, a lot of these people are new, they've never seen how the budget works. I try to keep them in the loop of what we're doing. These guys
Glad you came
have
back.
big stake in this department, so there's a lot of them that are interested and ask a lot of questions, so I want them to come. I show them what we're doing, we won't keep anything from them. And I think it's the
What
buying.
number have you got from me?
Well, transparency is really a good policy to have.
It is, and, anything they can question about, I don't like showing them, they've seen the budget, they've seen what we've asked
Could've
for.
been me with the
They
wrong-
know what direction that we're going in, and if you talk about seeing people stop, these guys make a lot more traffic stops these days, but they issue
Quiet over there, Brittany. How you doing?
75%
Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
And it's still more revenue than what we projected, so they actually issue more.
And it showed it was delivered.
But
The reason why I was curious about the grants is because that's what I
You
I
ain't-
manage
you ain't-
that one.
CMS, just Center for Medicare Medicaid
Try to
Services.
find down this one.
And so it's different, you know, I manage 6 projects related to CMS grants.
So you
That's why I'm
understand
curious
that
about it.
you have, if you don't stay on top of it, it ain't turned in time and all that. And with this position, they're doing the grants, and helping Miss Jennifer with the grants, but also doing our policy and procedure, which is very important. Because in the future, like I told you last year, it would be nice to get accredited one of these days. This fleet of vehicles we got now that match, that's part of it.
They're
Everything
nice
has
and
to match.
snazzy looking.
It has
Does
to
this
be-
person have like
Those
a
vehicles are sharp.
project management type of?
Yeah, no, I don't know if he actually has a
Training?
degree, but he is good.
I
He's
think
very,
that may be something that,
and we could look at sending him to schools and classes. I think they offer some grant writing stuff.
He's very articulate and he's
Yeah.
super smart.
It's gonna be very beneficial to the city as a whole.
Mhm.
And
what's his name?
Austin Jones, he's one of our sergeants now. He
He
worked here once before, and then when all this stuff went on, he left for a while. We brought him back again, he come back, and he's, like I said, he's, hurt his foot, he got stitches, so
It looks like.
this week he's been working on the, all this cars until he was coming. He's got 21 listed on auction right now, so it's Monday.
Huh?
We'll still have more, so
That's
he's,
good.
General
yeah.
fund.
So this will be
I know, super organized.
very, way more so than I. He,
103,000.
very good, he does a good job, and I think y'all will be very happy with the
That's
outcome.
good. Good.
Again, we appreciate it, we'll make sure y'all know we appreciate y'all's support, all of you.
I was,
Sounds good.
Do y'all wanna introduce them, do you know these guys? So do you wanna introduce them, do you know them?
Mr. Davis.
Well, I
I
So-
haven't seen a card lately from you.
This is Patrolman Matthew Cunningham,
waiting on cars.
Sergeant Coleman,
So,
Sergeant Davis, he's our newest sergeant, he got promoted.
congratulations.
Yep, he just got promoted here a few weeks ago, he took over the night shift. Sergeant Coleman, he's our canine guy, and he come to day shift, so we've,
So
we're very
where's your
fortunate.
partner, man?
He's in the car.
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't want him in here licking all over y'all, y'all trying to talk.
Oh, he's well behaved.
Yeah, when he wants to be.
attention.
I saw him out there and he was well behaved.
There was, what, kindergartners, first graders that come
Yeah, we
this
had
week?
about probably, 90 of them.
Oh, my.
But they put on a demonstration, the kids loved it, they hit
Oh, I
drugs,
bet.
they got to find
I
it.
gotta go. I
I
gotta
bet.
go. Thank
Thank
y'all.
you for coming, guys. It's nice meeting you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
But we really have a big room.
I didn't know what to think about
I saw it.
Oh.
Tremendous lot.
There was another one across the street that had loose dogs, loose chickens and grass.
With a big,
It's barn, it looks like a RV. I don't know what deal it is, but they got their chickens and stuff in it and cut the grass, so.
Oh, did it? And when I come out of that, $1 was 70.
Yeah, those chickens across the street drive my dogs crazy. I don't know who owns those chips.
Tell me about this wastewater regulation.
That's about a state.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jason,
yeah.
really, y'all want to take you to the shrimp
Oh,
farm?
yeah, I know which one.
$15
That's where
shrimp,
they get your taxes.
sausage, tater, corn.
Oh, sounds really good.
Supporting the good cause. Letting us get enough money to have a dinner for our member.
I was gonna say, this is what it is.
I
This is what
don't
it is.
know.
I'm gonna say you take it to this one, so I can say, everything Rotary operates.
I need to get some information on that rotary thing.
That had been active for 300 days that we had resolved this.
So do you know what was amended?
That just shows that you're making some.
I still got another one.
The regulation.
He's in the 300
Okay,
range.
you're fine.
And he's just completely, I'm waiting for the attorney to get this stuff. Yeah. That's Mustafa, I've got I'm working on this.
Oh, I think we saw this.
I tried, listen, I've been in touch with them.
It was,
It's
yeah.
stuff like that.
And they got one building redone, they got one demolished. Back here, they're on the back side.
Yeah,
You can see.
Yeah, you had to add it to the thing, yeah. Add it to the ordinance.
Oh, yes, I did. And he completely denied or even being a camper in it. I haven't been able to see it, so I don't know if he
Yeah, I know.
stopped it, moved it, or, I just asked, I said,
It's a treatment.
so I had to,
Okay,
They
that's
recorded
yeah,
to me.
I knew about it.
I just wanted to ask you about it, and he said absolutely not, I hadn't seen one since.
People tell you stuff all the
Oh,
time,
yeah.
you know, you don't, and.
Took care of one, I asked about it too. But, no, they did took care of two of the buildings back there, it was four.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And I've seen some people walking around the third, and he told me the trusses for the old inmate Brown building were supposed to have been here
Or
a
do you
month
need the
ago.
dates?
Just that he said, but Greg's around that now, that it's in foreclosure.
Okay.
Well, I just bought the building in January.
What was it,
The
16?
Indians building.
Oh,
Was it 16?
Yes.
Well, isn't the old,
Right.
isn't the,
Which mobile home?
the double wide down
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, no, the grass got cut by us, we cut.
Oh my goodness.
I called the guy,
Can you be my witness?
for the servicing company, and he said they were in the process of eviction, they had to wait 30 days. I said, dude, we're talking about grass.
I didn't have a
Said,
witness and.
you can't wait 30 days, you got 5.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you can't
We
touch
need
it
to
for
do
30
it on
days.
today.
Okay.
No, you'll get the bill
It's
for
at
it.
April 30th on there.
Yeah, we cut it, and I actually put the invoice for the cutting to that $310 in the mail today
Well, never.
to them.
Whenever that meets in the judges, so.
$500, yes, it was cooking. Well, when they sell it, they'll have a big page.
A mixer?
Yeah, maybe it's
So I'm hoping they'll,
I didn't
let
know.
it leave, and tell me they're not gonna cut it again, and I'll send them a $4 million, I'll be $600 again.
When ribs,
I didn't say that.
There's not going on anymore?
just today.
Where is
Better
this?
go like me.
But I wrote
I can't afford my 16-year-old anymore.
I know.
violations last month. Most of them,
Yeah,
I can't afford my 16-year-old anymore.
and first you'll hear all
I
this.
wonder how to get me a slide phone.
really. When kind of.
59 humans, 32 active, which means I've got, what, 16?
There's like 2 pages.
Did you take one of these from the others?
I mean, and they don't want.
I got 16 as
The
well.
problem is they want things that,
Well, the general
That's
fund.
16.
Nobody wants
I
just that.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
I've got a spreadsheet that's keeping up with the average days
I
on
always get a spring.
26 days is the average.
Most of them within a week.
Here's the tax.
But I've got a few that have gone 100 and something days. And I've got a couple handful of them that are pushing 300.
Let's see, now that part is
When we take it to the city court, and he lets us fine. I've got no recourse on it. He's trying to fix it, give me where I can take those fines and clean up fees, lower fees, and add up to city taxes. And when they come to pay their taxes, it falls to $200. And if they don't pay it, it's gonna show the late one after 3 years. So they got to
I forget.
That's all. That's the biggest thing. That would give me say, look, this is what's gonna happen if you don't get done, so let's go do it, get done.
Unless I got a copy machine, we had
That's all I need, so I'll put it on there.
I don't know, I just didn't trust that, I don't think you leave that or something.
But it'd be much
But
better.
it really is, yeah, no matter.
But I've got, are you familiar with the program, like, where it keeps up with all my violations and stuff? He got that, I had,
Did your kids come with you?
he got that, I had a total of 198.
No, my mother-in-law has a storm shut.
That's condemned, completely, active, all that.
Bruce,
I'm up
okay.
to 330.
No use. Copy that and we'll return.
Since I took it, and that's only been, what, about 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It's more, almost double.
Your job is,
How are you feeling today?
because as a, there's gonna be drawing.
No, it's handwriting if you don't keep
Yeah.
it sure saves a lot of time.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you got, well, like I said, I love the future.
Oh, that was Christian,
Yeah, he was, yeah, fused.
They're building, I don't know if they're still having it or not.
That's what I, listen, our phone was out,
No,
that 2 hours. And
There was 2 houses on
our
Highland Drive.
houses, and they were out
that I was
there.
getting ready to write a violation, getting back, getting over. And I'm gonna call it in
Hey, how are you? Good, how are you?
Oh, yeah, it's that one. Hey, Drew. Welcome.
The guy next door called me and complained about it. 391, I think.
You bring us something.
On the side closest to you.
Yeah, I do once in a
He
while.
called me, and I told him
Oh, it was?
Thank you.
he said that somebody was fault. They haven't cut it or done anything to it since they put it in.
So she had to.
I don't ever remember saying, yeah, it might have been something. I don't know, man, I know what you
They storm tonight.
Another show, probably 9 feet.
It's
3 or 4. I does,
Got back in some
feet.
areas, but Middleton is still.
No houses, no, grass is 2 or 3 feet deep.
Yeah, it was.
So they put 3 or 4 out of that barn, so it's like
People said it was.
inside the
I mean, they said,
city. It's like a half inch. So,
What are you doing?
Original plan, come up this way.
oh, about it tonight.
I'll see that.
I told him that there was somebody here. Jim's
Travel with it.
Yeah.
here's storm.
Yeah, I left it later.
Well, see, Atwood is,
How are you?
You can use it for a week or 2 for visitors or something, But you got there's a girl in the house, and we found it in the house, and
I guess I'll put it in the folder.
But that's because she was getting before the ordinance was signed. So I gotta ask Bo his opinion on which one you talking about? The RV, this is just a travel for RV trailer. I have no idea what it is. Yeah, I have no idea. I've been there since 2016. Really great.
Yeah, yes.
Unless she lives in the septic down there, I think he's still on septic. But I gotta ask Bo. If she can meet their father. It's on going toward the highway, it's on the right. The trailer's back behind his house. It was outside the city limits. And one way or another, they moved the city limits, it's been several years. But when they moved it, that trailer came into the city limits. She was 60 yet. So, the trailer was there. She moved it in 2016. The ordinance say that I couldn't live in trailer RVs was signed on May of that
'Cause
really didn't know that good job.
I need this guy back.
Oh my God, Bobby. And the lighting was like a strobe light. The lighting was so bright. We better hope you're living right, is that what it is?
Do what, you? Yeah, I meant to get by there, I just got busy. I'll get there tomorrow. Thank you.
It was one of them.
We'll call this meeting to order of the Board of Mayor and Council on Wednesday, May 9th at 5 p.m. Please stand for the prayer and pledge of allegiance led by Vice Mayor Council.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the last night they have now. Heavenly Father, thank you for this morning ride. Lord Father, I ask you to give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding about our city and our community. Now, Lord, I ask you to bless this council, bless the ones who come out to be with us this afternoon. Lord, I ask this prayer many more in your son, Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young?
Here.
Councilperson Armstrong?
Here.
Councilperson Alexander?
Here.
Vice Mayor Towns?
Here.
Councilperson Batten? Here. Councilperson Pruitt? Here.
All right, quorum has been established. Welcome to those from the community that are here. Department heads, again, thank you for being here. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the April 10th meeting. Motion made by Councilperson Armstrong. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Towns. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. No financial matters. Need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the second reading of ordinance 565 to amend the text on permitted uses in B1, B3, and B4, local business districts.
I so moved.
Motion made by Councilperson Armpriest, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Towns, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the second reading to amend the firework ordinance 566 concerning the age and purchase times. Do I hear a motion?
I so moved.
Motion by Councilperson Armpriest, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Towns, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten.
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. I need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the second reading of ordinance 567 to amend ordinance 324 relating to the state waterways regulations. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Towns. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Armpriest. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. All right, I need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the appointment of Tim Beeler to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term. That's not on here, but it needs to be added. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a
Motion.
Motion by Councilperson Young. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Councilperson Armpriest. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the appointment for Dennis Coleman to the Housing Authority for his second 4-year term. Do you hear a motion?
So moved.
By motion by Councilperson
Second.
Armpriest, second by Vice Mayor Towns. Any discussion?
Are these appointed positions? Do people have a chance to show interest in the position, or are these just, how are these positions filled?
With this one, Mr. Coleman has served, for 4 years. But yes, I mean, if you have folks that are interested in these commissions, such as Planning Commission or Housing Authority, please send them our way.
And do we know when positions become available? Are the
Typically, the
terms that are
mayor,
served, or-
I mean, typically we start looking, but if you know of someone, I mean, I'm happy to keep a running list. Cause there's always a need.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the resolution 24-000 authorizing the city election on November the 5th of 2024.
I so moved.
Motion made by Councilperson Armpriest. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Batten. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
Motion carries. Need a motion and a second for the reading and approval of the first reading of ordinance 568, the 2024-2025 City of McKenzie budget. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilperson Alexander. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Vice Mayor Towns. Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. I need a motion and a second to open discussion and approval of the first reading of ordinance 569 to convert Broadway Street to a one-way street. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Young, do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Councilperson Humphries. We will open discussion. I will make a statement, as in the words of Miss Shirley Nanny, I need to learn a lesson, and I learned a lesson. I was faced with the contractor being there with the striping crew. I had already approached the engineers, questioning them about the length of the space between how the cars are now shifted out because of the new islands. And had spoken with Chief White, and Director Mercer was under the understanding that it was Director Mercer's call, that was not. And so I publicly state that I made a mistake. And so since I have done my research, reached out to MTAS, and so you do have a report in there that states that, and so that is my public statement. Any other discussion?
So the one-way signs that have been put up, are they to be removed until it's second voting?
We can do that, sir. Chief White was directed not to enforce any laws until this were to come to you guys.
Yeah, I think the sign should be either covered up or removed until this is officially voted on.
Yes, sir.
So how would you reverse it?
How would we reverse it?
If you don't vote it, I mean.
We'll get a sander out there and restripe the street.
$4,600 will turn it back like it was.
Yes.
How much?
$4,600.
This decision was not made out of, I wanted to make a decision. I felt that it is, from a safety standpoint, if you were to come down from Lee Street towards Super D and try to pull out there, you're having to look at three different traffic. You're having to look at traffic coming up from the theater, seeing if anybody's coming across from Super D and coming from City Hall. And so we've had a lot of close encounters, especially when folks are parked there on the side closest to Veteran Park on Cedar. So that was one of the reasons why, plus with the new islands, I mean, we've already had someone run over the islands, so I mean, it's gonna take getting used to.
Get in.
And so, that was the intent, was from safety.
Well, and I can tell you that I didn't know that this was gonna rock McKenzie so hard to change the street, but I have received more messages and calls regarding this change that I didn't know that there was so much interest, so, you know, and I don't fully understand the logistics of people that have to work on that street or have to do business down that street, how it would change their day-to-day, you know, interactions or lack thereof. That street, for me, I mean, it needs to be painted either way, because it's really hard to see who's coming, are they coming, is this street, it's a wide street, and I think at some point, there used to be parking right down the middle, and that's why it's so wide, but, I just know that there is a little bit of, I don't wanna say a bad thing, but I think that there's a little bit of, disagreement from some, community members to change the street. Now, I don't know what that pertains to, you know, what they do every day. I don't fully understand how it would change it, or if it's a nuance, I don't know. So, I would love to learn what are the specific changes? You know, I mean, why is it hard? And then, some people said, hey, read the newspaper. I mean, I don't have to read the newspaper, I can call somebody, but I mean, reading the newspaper, these are people that are affected right there, right? Because they're right there. When it comes to bills, the newspaper, anyone that's on that road, I think, would probably disagree that it's a good idea, but I don't fully understand the reason why.
Well, you said you don't know how the people feel that's got the business down there. I spoke with every single one of them, and even some across the street on the other corner. And none of them have talked negative about it whatsoever.
So they want that.
They don't have any negative input. A lot of them said, oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and others just say, well, it's fine with me. Speaking of vehicles that are long, did somebody make a comment about the curb was too long? Well, let me tell you about the curb being long, guys. We are parking vehicles in there now, like a crew cab pickup truck. They're 23 feet long. That's what mine is anyway. The average parking space from what I checked on is 18 feet long. Now, I watched the crew cab pickup truck park the other day, and he did clear the curves. So that was good for him. Now, is that good for somebody driving a little car? I don't know. I'm just giving you, that's just my opinion. And
Well, I mean, and there's people, more people, I'm sure, I mean, there's people that work, but then there's people that do business there too. Did you receive, I mean, I don't know if I should ask you, but did you receive any negatives like I did, or?
I had, several people. I had one negative, and, all the rest of them positive.
Councilperson Young?
I did the same thing. I didn't know that you were doing it. I started out, Monday morning and went completely around the downtown thing. And mine is very close to yours. 13 people said that they were fine with it. They liked it. Within that 13, there's a couple that, you know, are not strong anyway, but I only had 3 that said they did not like it. So, and with that being said, I text another 15 people, and with about the same thing. I had 3 people out of them that said they didn't want to do it. The other said that they thought it was a good idea.
What were the objections of the ones that said they didn't like it?
A couple of them were just, they didn't like what we went about it.
So not the change itself, but the method.
They didn't like it, right. They just didn't like the way that we approached it. I would say it was in the 3, it was a couple of those that way. Every situation has pluses and minuses. One of the, in making it leaving it like it is, one more. It's gonna be hard for, if the furniture store stays where it is, it's gonna be hard to get those trucks backed up. How you gonna back them? You're gonna have to, someone to go against the traffic to back them in there to load. I don't know how you correct that.
Tonight, Phil loading his own trucks?
Yeah.
What's wrong with him loading them out the back and the middle?
Well, his furniture's in the front.
Sometimes they do load them.
I don't think you can do that. I mean, that is a negative to
Does he load off that, loading it off there
it. He does.
on Broadway?
That high spot.
Right, can he
See,
just,
the spots are turned where he can't.
He
He's gonna
typically,
use your action.
he typically uses 2 spots and backs in for those.
So,
Your remark about the way we went about it, as I stated in the beginning.
I have had, of this bunch of 30 people that I talked to, I had 2 or 3 that were concerned about loading zones there, that were unloading stuff on Broadway, and where it's a 2-way or a 1-way, that's an issue. That's gonna have to be, I think something addressed there, because that's blocking up parking, blocking up everything, congestion. And honestly, I've been through there a bunch recently just to see. It is an issue coming out from Broadway on Cedar. That is, you have to pull out, and then you can't see past the cars here. you can't see past the corner of that building, for long, you're out in the traffic. So that's that's an issue, making it a two-way street there. So it is kind of a tough thing, but I'm gonna spend some time, and Councilperson Alexander as well, so we both, I think, sort of cover a little bit.
And the people with whom I spoke, I had calls from folks who share their concerns about the issues that have been brought up here. Also, a lot of them that just said, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm sorry. But other than the previous issues, the general consensus has been, doesn't matter. And I guess part of my thing is, because I haven't been driving in this town for my whole 70 years, it's not such a change in my routine. It's not like, well, I've always done it this way, because I haven't always done it this way. It's not.
Well, you're gonna have people that are not gonna obey it, because right now they're not obeying that one-way street in the back, period. So, I mean, there will always, and I can tell you this because I went down the road and there comes somebody coming the other direction. And so, I mean, you're gonna have people that are, I don't know, that have driven down that road for so long, and they would have to get used to it. I don't think that the approach is the root cause of the problem. I don't believe that when I ask a million whys, the approach, I think it's change. I think it's the change itself. Changing something that has been a certain way for so long is always hard. The approach is not the problem, from my perspective. I mean, I understand, feelings get hurt. My feelings get hurt sometimes too, but I don't think that sometimes. I don't know what kind of, if we were to change it, what kind of grace period we would need to have for those people to get accustomed to that change. I don't know if that's even a thing. I don't know.
It's a bad situation, but the thing about it is you admitted that it was wrong. I mean, I don't know how you go about it. Y'all say it don't impact anybody, but it's been a lot of talk. Either way, the people you went to or the people you didn't go to. I mean, it bothered them. So, make a long story short, it's hard to make wrong right. So, I mean, I don't know where we go from here, but it's something to think about.
Yes. Well, tradition, it's been that way since I came in 1965. And tradition is hard to change. But the one thing that concerns me is that Williams Furniture, if somebody comes in and wants to put a business there, then how are they going to unload the furniture if they run a furniture store or any other business? At one time, there was 3 or 4 businesses on that street there. So, I think we need to give some serious thought to this, and I don't think we need to have a timeline that it just has to be done right away. Let's think this thing out and hear the needs of the people. And the people that are running businesses on that street right now, no, they're new people as far as managing this, living in this community, and that's great, that's wonderful. But some of the older people need to have their say too. So I think it's only fair that we do this right and give some serious thought to it. So it's gonna be left up to you all, because I'm not gonna be here.
For the benefit of the board, for what it's worth, this is where my role as a city attorney and a city judge tends to blend at times. There's well-reasoned arguments on both sides of the issue, both of which have merit. understand that process matters a great deal when these boards make these decisions. This board makes a decision, process matters a great deal. I do think that, you know, when a decision may not have been exactly correct, and we, you know, take responsibility for it, I do think that, like everybody, grace needs to be shown. The fact the mayor has, you know, admitted that maybe not the process was flawed, I applaud him for that, but also too, this board has had a lot of further discussion on it. I think that with the information we have from MTAS that specialize in this sort of, you know, material, this board is able to go and talk to business owners that are affected. I think it would be prudent, mayor, members of the board, table this to the June meeting, give everybody a chance to have a meaningful opportunity to digest the information, get input from the public, from the affected business owners, and then make a decision at this point. You know, it's gonna have to go through 2 readings, and I think that giving everyone time to digest it is going to be appropriate. My experience is that people are going to disobey traffic laws on a regular basis. Councilperson Batten's comment is well taken. I see that from my bench on a monthly basis. People ignore stop signs, they ignore traffic flow, they ignore speed limit signs. I think covering up the signs would be prudent at this point, and certainly we have, you know, 2 very fine journalist establishments here that can communicate to the public that this is not taking effect at this time until this board gives it due consideration. My role as city attorney is to help the board make the best informed decisions that we can at this point. It is a change. Councilperson Curno's point is well taken that, you know, tradition is hard to change, but the other thing to consider too with this board is that change is often inevitable and it's going to happen. Maybe not today, maybe not next month or next year, but it will happen. 45 years ago, we didn't have these wonderful idiot boxes that we keep on our person or videotape everything with, but now we do, and we've changed. And that's the mindset this board has to keep in mind, is what's gonna be the best change for the city if there's a change to be had. So, that, Mayor, I'll get off my sermon, but I think the best course of action would be to table this until the June meeting, everybody a chance to digest it, and if we need to have a public hearing to hear from those in the public, we can certainly do that to facilitate the discussion.
Well, and I also wanna say that, you know, if it was something that wasn't happening, you know, and listen, I've learned a great deal, but I don't think that you had a bad intent. So the intent matters to me. Now, I think that you were trying to think of the best way to go about because of the changes, right? I mean, so for the public matter, yes, I mean, I would have an issue if a decision was made that was meant to come through this council, yes, absolutely. I would be probably the first one at your door, why did you make this decision? But the more I heard about it, you know, the intent matters to me. And I mean, that was not, and when I digested, I know that it wasn't, that wasn't the root cause. I think, I mean, we obviously, you know, we're gonna make the decision here, but I don't know what other type of, consensus from the public we can obtain. I don't know what you were thinking when you, like, were you thinking surveys or?
The most effective way, Councilperson Batten, if I may, Mayor, and members of the board, would be to schedule a public hearing, you know, before the next meeting, you know, or workshop. Let the public come in, you know, give their discussion if they so choose to do so on this issue, you know, in accordance with state law. But that way, everybody has an equal opportunity to address the board, to address their concerns, so that way the board can make an informed decision. My experience is you send out 10 surveys, you're gonna be lucky to get 3 of them back. Not gonna help. Social media surveys, anybody from around the world can take it, so you have no way to know a true sample from those in McKenzie or that drive in Carroll County area, that work here, that do business here, pay taxes here. So if you open it up in a public forum, let them speak their concerns, and then the board make a decision for or against. And that also gives this board the ability with our street director or our police and fire chief to figure out, is there another way? You know, Some cities that I represent have one-way traffic between certain hours, for example. They have exceptions for loading and unloading. You know, no matter what traffic laws this board makes, people are still going to exercise due care as a matter of state law when they're driving anyway. So there are ways to address the concerns, and the mayor's intent, from what I read now as city attorney, wasn't invidious, it wasn't done with malice aforethought. He was frankly attempting to govern. And sometimes that's what happens when you're in the mayor's chair. You know, right, wrong, or different, we all have to make decisions in this board, and so does the mayor, but that's part of governing. And I've had to make hard calls as a judge too, but that's the cost of doing business, so.
How should we postpone this for a later vote?
That's my recommendation. We can table this until the June meeting, allow time to form a workshop before the June meeting, so that way we can inform the public, you know, not let it be enforced as of yet, irrespective of what the paint on the street looks like. You know, it can still be put that it's still business as normal, then this board can make an informed decision for the materials you have, for public input, so that way when this board makes a decision, it figures out a solution, it is a sound decision. Need a motion and a second to table it.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Towns to table to the June meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Bruno. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
No.
Councilperson Armstrong.
No.
Councilperson Alexander,
No.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
I need a point of clarification here. Voting no on,
No means we would not move it, we would vote no.
okay, so no.
Councilperson Prince.
Yes.
Alright, so the no is 4-2.
So you're still on the discussion of the ordinance, and anyone can make a motion to continue discussion or to call for the question and vote it up or down.
Alright, do we have any other discussion?
Did anyone from the public ask to speak?
No.
No one has asked
No
that
one
one.
filed prior to our 24-hour notice.
And is there any plan, should we decide not to make it one way? Is there any plan with what to do with the parking spaces? Do we have a contingency?
Director Mercer, it'll cost us $4,600 to fix it. And I will make note that with the grant that is happening, there was money in the grant that was able to pay for the striping. So it was gonna have 2 lines down the middle, that when they took that away, that paid for the restriping of the parking spaces.
And another question that was brought to my attention was, did this affect the grant by changing?
No, I've spoken with the engineer, the architect, the contractor, and TDOT, because there was funds and it did not exceed it, then we're okay.
Okay.
And I believe, with the MTS report, we have enough to show from a safety standpoint. Because, when the engineer and architect design those, they're not physically here, so if the contractor didn't adhere directly to that plan and push them out, those islands are big, those landscaping islands.
Yes.
And that's my biggest concern, is it's pushed 25 more feet, because those sidewalks are so big. Because the contractor was there with the vendor for striping, that's what made this decision.
But if we have a public hearing, the way I see that is giving anybody and everybody in this community, if they have any say-so, a chance to come before this board and say it. Then, that's that.
But they had that for today as well,
Correct.
and no one came.
I don't know, I never saw anything advertised, in the paper that there was going to be a public hearing today.
It was a workshop on the budget, right?
But they could have called and told.
They could call and be allowed to speak this evening.
The agenda is published in advance, and any individual has a right to ask as far as to be placed in the agenda based on any topic on the agenda. Councilperson Bruno, so, there is an opportunity at this point, if the person, for lack of a better term, is highly motivated at this time to do it. Having a public hearing does give a lot of advance notice, but in a way that advance notice is already there because anybody can call ahead of time, you know, as long as they're given at least 24 hours notice to speak, and the agenda's already made public at this point. And anybody can be asked to see a copy of proposed ordinance 569, for example, in advance of the meeting, because it's all part of the public record.
I know I had phone calls at home, you know. Venus had some, you had some.
So if we have a public hearing and, nobody requests to speak, then this board has done their part, I feel like, and everybody's been given fair opportunity. As it is now, they haven't really, they just didn't have that opportunity. And I think, to be quite honest with you, for the mayor's sake, if nothing else, this is correcting a wrong that the general public as a whole sees was a mistake. And so if they have the opportunity to speak, that puts him in the sunshine, you know, he looks pretty good after this.
Well, one point as well, members of the board, this is an ordinance, so we'll have to go through 2 readings at this point. So, for example, if the board approves it tonight, it still has to go through a second reading before it becomes law, before it becomes effective. If it fails tonight, then that's the end of the discussion. And that's where the board has to prove it at least twice. It requires a simple majority at this point. So again, it doesn't require 2/3, it's a simple majority. So that's where we also have a safety valve, if you will, in making legislation that affects public health, safety, and welfare. 2 readings. So if it passes tonight, people are for or against it, they certainly have the right to come in at next month's meeting, even if there isn't a workshop on it, as we place the agenda, and we're making this known with members of the press in attendance, so it can be publicized. So that way, if they have strong opinions one way or the other, they can still address this board before it's voted on second reading, much like the budget or any other piece of subject legislation that this board undertakes.
A happy public is a is a public that you want to have their support with.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think we need to aggravate or irritate it, and, well, that's my say.
So, to my understanding, so just to make sure I'm hearing
Yes, ma'am.
right back. Should we approve to allow it to continue and to keep the one-way street in fact? Then we would have the next meeting where it would have to be voted and finalized, is that correct?
That's correct.
And in that interim, anyone is welcome to bring their concerns to us and arrange to have, time at the next council meeting.
That's correct. You know, until this board approves it on second reading, it's still the same as it was before. It's still considered a 2-way street at this point. So that means that if the signs are covered up or however, it's still a 2-way street because by ordinance, it has not been changed. So if they have concerns, they can call to ask to place an agenda to address this board under whatever constraints and information they have. The board will have to vote on a second time if you choose to approve it tonight. If you choose not to approve tonight, if it fails for approval, then that's the end of it. Unless somebody moves to bring it back up and have it replaced on the agenda. Now, you can always ask for it to be brought back up again, you know, in a second time. It's not necessarily killing it forever and ever. It just will be done as of tonight. Your first reading would be in June if you choose to bring it back up. So effectively, it's an up or down vote at this point because the board has moved now not to table it until June unless the board wishes to make a second motion to that effect.
That's what I was confused on. I thought you just said that we will table it until June.
Well, that was the motion and it failed.
So confused with the world. Okay.
There was a motion to table it until June to give a further study. That failed on the vote 4-2.
Okay.
So now we're back on the original up or down vote on the ordinance as presented. And that's on first reading.
I mean, my little survey is not, probably not the feelings of the entire town, but it is 23-7. favor of leaving it or making it a one-way street. So I think that's, I think you get something from that. That's the people downtown that it involves and then just a pretty good group of, people that use the street. I think that's, I don't know that you can put 100% on that, but I think it's not 50-50. It's fairly one-sided, so, some of those people call me and I text and call some of them, so. And I think it's a fair assumption that most people would prefer it in one way.
I think, it's like Bobby said, it's, whether I want it one way or I want it two way, really doesn't make any difference to me. To me, what gets me is the overwhelming amount of people that I talk to wants to put it one way. Whether I like it or not, that's not why I'm on the city council. I'm here to do what the people of McKenzie want me to do, and I'm just gonna have to both ways.
Any motion? Either way.
I want to vote.
Any question? Call Mayor, second vote.
All right, the motion has been made to approve the first reading of ordinance 569. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
You get a second?
Well, we're already in
No.
discussion, so
What question's been called for, so I need to proceed to vote.
I just was repeating what we were voting on.
Yes.
So we're voting to approve the first reading of ordinance 569. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
No.
Councilperson Batten,
No.
Councilperson Young, Pruno, sorry.
Vote.
Vote's tied, 3-3, Mayor, vote you.
Of course, vote is yes to approve the ordinance 569. All right, so it's 4-3.
And
The
this
motion passes on the first reading of ordinance 569. All right, I need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the resignation of Councilperson Charles Bruno. Do I hear a motion?
I so moved.
Motion made by Councilperson Armpriest. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Second by Vice Mayor Towns. So just on behalf of the City Council, Mr. Bruno, I'm so thankful for your 12 years of service. It was a hard call to receive, but I understand the reasons why. I thank you for your wisdom that you've brought just in the year and a half that I've been sitting in this seat, and for the last 12 years that you've brought to the city. I'd like to open up the floor to the council to address Councilperson Bruno, and then we will give him the floor.
Well, I'm gonna try to do it without getting emotional. Mr. Pruno was my band director, and a very good one. He's been a very good council person. We value his opinion, all of us do. Been a good citizen for the town, and I won't really miss the benefit.
And I appreciate you always being generous with your wisdom and your experience to us who me, because I have no idea. And so I am very grateful for all that you've shown to me and your consideration and realizing how much I have to learn. So thank you.
Well, I didn't know Mr. Bruno until I got on the city council. But I learned when I got on the city council that the man is full of wisdom. He cares about the city of McKenzie. And I don't think he wants anything but from McKenzie except what will help McKenzie. And I appreciate your time on the council, and I wish you all the best.
Mr. Pruno, we're gonna miss you. You are a wealth of information, and you have been so good to the city of McKenzie. So we wish you the best. And you know you can call me anytime for anything.
Bravo, it's just like a repeat. So much wisdom, we appreciate you, gonna miss you. I'll call you from time to time if you need me to call me. I appreciate your wisdom. We might get stuck again, I may need you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilperson Batten.
Oh, you know. It's okay. Okay.
You need to tell me I'm gonna have to give somebody else a hard time. Thank
Sure.
you.
Yeah, that's true.
I just, I wanna say thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you, for always being encouraging. Your time as a citizen of McKenzie doesn't end because you're not on the city council. And I think that we're all aware that your wisdom will be there for us to harvest, so, I think that sometimes we take a different role, as a citizen, and I just don't foresee you stopping just because you're not behind this thing. So, we appreciate you so much, and I have a lot to learn still from you.
God bless you. I'd like to make a few comments if I can. If I must correct me if this is right. I was thinking, as I look at Justin, I remember Jennifer calling me. I had been out of the hospital from heart surgery for about a week. And she said, Mr. Pruno, can you come to the council meeting, and we need to vote Justin in to take this lady's place. And I said, okay, I can do that. And so the police came. I came down here in my pajamas. And I said where Bobby is. I didn't get over here. I said where Bobby is. And we got Justin on the city council. I gave this some serious thought. It's not something that I planned on doing, but health-wise, I've reached the point that it is getting to be a major undertaking for me to get ready to come to council and to do my part. I see Bobby, I see his brother, there's Jesse, his brother. They were all kids in school. I saw them running around the high school halls. Justin, your boss over there, I had her too. I mean, there's very few people in this town that I haven't had contact with, and we miss y'all. And as I understand, we have Drew Beeler. I found out that he's related to Gary Simmons, and that's your Ashley's son. That's great. I think he'd be great. I'm sure he'll do a good job for us, and so let's continue to vote through the end.
On behalf of the city, Mr. Bruno, we've got a plaque for you. It says, the city of McKenzie presented to Charles Bruno. The city of McKenzie and the citizens want to thank you for devoting the last 12 years of dedicated service to our community, November the 6th of 2012 to May 9th of 2024.
Thank you.
reception, to honor you, sir. All right, I need a motion and a second to discuss and approve the appointment of Drew Beeler to finish the term of Councilperson Bruno. Motion made by Councilperson Alexander. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Towns. Any discussion?
Mayor, point of information for the board, this vacancy, if Mr. Beal is approved to sit, Mr. Bruno's seat would be until the next regular election for our charter for Section 7 McKenzie City Charter. Mr. Beal would have to run in the next municipal election in November if he wanted to fill out the remaining term or for a new term in that case. So this is a appointment from now until the election.
And the way we got here, I know there was, question about calling for letters. I spoke with the election commission, as well as reference the charter, and it, does not reference that. Drew and I were gonna have lunch on the day that Mr. Pruno called me anyway to talk about him running in November. He had joked with him and said, why don't you consider running for city council? He said, well, I'll pray about it, and then he texted me and said, let's have lunch to talk about what that means. And Mr. Pruno called me that morning, was not expecting the call. And so that afternoon we had lunch, and I said, if you're willing, I would be, honored to put you up for a vote. And so that's how we got here to Drew. Any other questions or discussion?
I just have a comment. I know that you've heard me multiple times how we're very appreciative of everything you do for the community, and you've always been there. You've been there when our football team needed you. You've been there when our church, needs you. And I couldn't be more excited when I saw your name. I was very excited that you have the opportunity to, make impact for the city of McKenzie. So I'm really proud of you.
Any other comments or questions? All right, roll call, Madam Clerk, to appoint Drew Beeler to finish the term of Councilperson Bruno until the November 5th election.
Councilperson Young,
Yes.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilperson Alexander,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Towns,
Yes.
Councilperson Batten,
Yes.
Councilperson Pruno.
Yes.
Congratulations, Drew, on your unanimous vote. At this time, if you would approach the council, City Attorney Bo Pemberton is going to swear you in.
Just for a note of clarification, I'm gonna swap my hat just a minute from city attorney, I'm using this for judge at this point, so just so the press makes know I'm sworn in as judge. Mr. Beeler, if you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Drew Beeler,
I, Drew Beeler,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of the state of Tennessee
and of the state of Tennessee
and the ordinances and resolutions
and the ordinances and resolutions
of this municipality.
of this municipality.
And I will faithfully
And I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
without favor or fear,
without favor or fear,
along with the public good.
along with the public good,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, man. Welcome to the board.
Congratulations, sir. And we had no citizen input, department head reports, the Director Umstead, water and wastewater.
Yeah, of course, the last time we approved getting the 2 new trucks, we got those, one of them had set it up as a new service truck. Looking forward to getting that finished and ready in service. The EPA come out with a lead and copper service line inventory that has to be done by October. So we've been real busy on that, and we got all that figured out. We haven't found any lead or copper service lines in McKenzie, so that's something that will, help rest a little easier. And we're gonna get that reported, and other than that, we're just looking forward to the summertime and, getting to work.
Thank you. Director Hollowell, Park and Recreation.
Parks and Rec is wide open. Got baseball going on, soccer going on. Soccer will, play their final weekend this Saturday, so that'll end their season. Baseball, softball continue on. High school baseball will be playing a regional tournament at McKenzie, this Friday night and Saturday. So I invite those people to come out, support the Rebels. We've been working, diligently on our splash pad, getting it ready to open. It'll open at the end of this month. We've had to have some maintenance, replacing pumps, so we've got all that taken care of, and had some extra concrete work done, so it should be fully operational by the time we get ready to open it. At our T-ball field, we do have the concrete pad poured for that, and that'll be eventually will be our restrooms and a small concession there that TCAT is working on for the container that will be coming aboard as soon as they finish up with that.
Thank you, sir. Director Mercer, Streets and Public
Well, in our
Works.
household and, Bush Ride is normal. Mowing our right of ways, Mr. Seaton keeping us pretty busy, mowing Smoking Road, lots, getting those cleaned up. Been cleaning some ditches out around town, some places that's overgrown, cleaning those out, and hopefully next week we'll, start putting some hot mix and some water cuts.
Chief White, Police.
Yes, sir, this past month, we, done a total of 1,444 calls with the police department. As of today, we have 21 cars listed for auction, so most all of these up here have been put online so we can clear them out. We're trying to sell these to, we put them as restricted to other police departments if they want them, so we don't have to take the equipment off. We'll try that first. If it don't, then we'll get somebody to strip them down. So this ought to be cleaned off here within the next few weeks. And stuff going. We got our first SRO truck on the road. Hope some of y'all have seen it. The big M on it looks really good. They moved another one around to change the decal today, so we'll at least have one more next week and the other one soon. So, pretty good shape.
Chief Tucker, Fire.
Fire department's holding steady. We ran 51 last month. 33 of those were in the medical category, and then 19 of them were in the fire related. So we're steadily, our medical runs are running about, averaging about 30, 35 a month. And we're still getting a lot of good feedback on that program.
Mr. Seaton, Code Enforcement.
59 new violations since last month, 43 have already been resolved. That leaves 32 total active. Some of them are over a month old. We have 2 properties in their 60-day appeal period on condemnations. We've got 3 new properties coming up for condemnation hearing on May 20th.
Mr. Jennifer. Back on property. Budget.
I've been overwhelmed at the theater the past week. Schools have been coming nonstop, and for police and fire had to come other day and help, because I had 245 kids.
Wow.
So we were all putting popcorn in there and drinks. It was a nightmare. Jim comes and helps too, but that's the biggest one. I mean, we had to use the balcony and everything, so. But, and I've got, I think only one more coming, so thank goodness. But it's been helpful to my revenue over there.
We do have Memorial Day coming up on the 27th at 10 o'clock. Our guest speaker will be Garrett Burns, who is an active military chaplain with the Marines. And then we've got Nights on Broadway starting in June, and on June 7th, we're excited that the Jackson Symphony will be coming this year to do a symphony on the moon, or on the move, sorry. So it'll be under the stars at Veterans Park, pending rain.
When is that?
June the 7th. And we also have, this coming up Monday, we have a homelessness forum at the Park Theater. So we're bringing some providers together as well as, I got confirmation today, the Deputy Commissioner from the state level for mental health and substance abuse is gonna come and speak on what we have going on at the state for mental health and substance abuse, specifically for homeless. So I think those are our upcoming events. And
The
then
farmer's market will be
Nights on
June
Broadway,
1st.
that, the symphony is the first Nights on Broadway?
It'll be on Friday night for the symphony.
That's the only date they have available.
Okay, and then after that, it'll be Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You said June first?
And then, Mr. Kramer,
One item, for the board's information, since this is my first year as your city attorney, going through the entire delinquent tax cycle, with the present tendency, 2022 delinquent tax complaint has been filed with clerk and master as of yesterday. So if you have not paid for 2022 delinquent city of McKenzie property taxes, you can pay them at the clerk and master's office in Chancery Court in Huntington. And I'll give my same ammunition I give to all my cities for those delinquent taxes. Please pay your taxes, or the clerk and master will sell your property. It's quite simple. Thank you, Mayor.
all right, council comments, councilperson Bruno,
No, thank you.
councilperson Batten.
No?
3 meetings in a row. Vice Mayor.
Not that we're counting.
No. No.
I'm sorry, councilperson Alexander,
Just thank you guys for what you do. Y'all do a good job.
councilperson Humphries,
Thank you.
councilperson Young.
We're all interested in McKenzie, it's obvious. We don't all agree on how, and we're not going to every time, but it is good to see that we all are interested. Please do.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved.
Second.
Made by councilperson Humphries, second by Vice Mayor Towns. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, adjourn at 6:58. Please join us for the reception in the lobby for councilperson Bruno.
Thank you. You did good.